Alfred wants to be a supermodel, so he visits a fancy audition in New York, hoping for the best. There's a line of his rivals standing in the lobby. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? This guy with the snake eyes. Daisy, the photographer, invites Alfred to her studio to take some shots. After a couple of days, she receives printed pictures and freaks out. Why? Take a look at Alfred's body in this picture. Both of his feet are right. Amazingly, Alfred gets his dream job. A famous magazine invited him to shoot their cover. He arrives at the studio early to get ready. Before the start of the photo shoot, Alfred looks in the mirror. Gross! There's an allergic rash all over his face. Alfred interrogates 3 suspects. The assistant says, "I was told you're allergic to peanuts and berries, so we've prepared only safe snacks." The makeup artist says, "I didn't touch your food. I put on your makeup and left for a coffee break." And the cleaning lady says, "I know how sensitive models are. That's why I only use organic, hypoallergenic cleaning products." Can you guess who's guilty of Alfred's allergy? The makeup artist. Even though she didn't have access to his food, she was the only one who had access to his face, and she could put toxins in his makeup. Alfred gets hired as a model for a clothing catalog. He's asked to put on these trendy jeans. Can you count the exact number of holes in this piece of clothing? These 2 holes go through the pant legs, so in fact, these are 4 holes, not 2. As for this hole, it's only on the front of the leg, plus 1 hole. But that's not all. These jeans also have 3 more holes, 2 on the bottom of the pant legs and 1 on the belt. So, the correct answer is 8. Alfred stayed late in the studio to write a post, and now he's finally going home. He walks along the dark hall of the office building. Suddenly, Alfred hears someone screaming for help. The voice comes from the broom locker. He opens the door. "Daisy, who closed you here?" Daisy replies, "I have no idea. I went to the 8th floor to eat in a Chinese restaurant, but it was closed for maintenance all day. So I decided to go home. Then, someone put a garbage bag on my head and locked me in here." In the morning, Alfred interrogates 5 suspects. The cleaner says, "I was washing the windows on the 8th floor." The makeup artist says, "I was cleaning my brushes in the bathroom." The assistant says, "I was helping the makeup artist, but I went home earlier." The stylist says, "I had dinner in the local Chinese restaurant and then went to a concert." And the cameraman says, "I was sick yesterday, so I went home early." Who locked up Daisy? The stylist. The Chinese restaurant was closed yesterday. The 6 friends get trapped inside the cave. Unfortunately, they had left all the food in the camp. That's why they're starving while waiting for the rescue group to arrive. Suddenly, Alfred finds 5 cookies in his pocket. Can you find the easiest way to divide these 5 cookies among 6 people equally? They should split the first 3 cookies in half and divide the remaining 2 cookies into 3 parts. This way, each person will get 1/2 and 1/3 of a cookie. Alfred returns from his vacation and checks his email. He sees 3 new job offers. Francis invites Alfred to participate in New York Fashion Week. Julia offers good money for a shampoo commercial. And Crystal offers him to be the face of a famous clothing brand. One of these employers is a scammer. Can you guess who? Crystal, the spelling of the brand Gucci is wrong. Alfred arrives at the shampoo commercial filming spot. He enters the dressing room and sees his actress partner, Amber. She has a short, messy haircut. Amber yells, "I took a 30-minute nap and someone has cut my beautiful long hair!" Alfred asks three suspects one question. What were you doing the last 30 minutes? The makeup artist says, "I was streaming a backstage video for my followers." The guard replies, "My coffee break started 30 minutes ago, so I went to the vending machine and bought hot chocolate. But then I received an assignment to catch a stranger with scissors. I kicked him out and returned to my workplace." And the stylist says, "Oh, I spent the last 20 minutes in the toilet. I shouldn't have eaten seafood for breakfast." Can you help Alfred spot the liar? It's the guard. He bought the hot chocolate 30 minutes ago, but why is it still hot? Alfred arrives at the Fashion Week. He's staying in a hotel with a roommate, Billy. Alfred takes a brief look at Billy's suitcase and spots three weird details right away. Can you see them too? Why does he need the shaving cream if he uses an electric razor? The book title is printed upside down, and there's no pair to this sock. Alfred goes to a fancy party full of celebrities. Four guys want to impress him. They learn that Alfred was born in Australia, so they come up to him, tell their stories, and show some pictures. Jake says, "I'm so excited to go on a road trip around Australia this summer." Peter says, "I'm a travel blogger. Last summer in Arizona, I got some great kangaroo shots." Will says, "I'm a super broke guy. I've only been to New Jersey so far." And Oliver says, "I donate money for charity projects in Australia. Once, I saved a little koala." Who's lying? Peter. Kangaroos only live in Australia. Alfred leaves the party. But suddenly, he finds out that he had left his phone in the club. He returns and questions three people standing nearby. The waiter says, "I was busy with my orders. I didn't see anything." The cleaner says, "I think I saw your phone on the sofa. But when I looked there again, it was already gone." And the manager says, "There are no phones in our lost and found office." Who took Alfred's phone? The waiter. She has Alfred's phone case hidden in her boot. The next morning, Alfred enters the gym. He takes a look around and freaks out. Why? This lady is not from this planet. She has a completely transparent belly. Alfred is now wealthy enough to afford a new apartment. He locks all his documents and money in a safe that he found inside his bedroom, but now he can't open it. Alfred finds a list of codes nearby, but he doesn't know which one is correct. Can you help him figure out the code? These buttons are used a lot, but only the third combination includes all these numbers. Alfred goes to his granny and spends holidays in the country. There, he meets his school friend, Dan. They haven't been talking for years. Dan begins to boast. "I've become a famous blogger. My videos on YouTube get millions of views." Dan shows Alfred a video from his channel, but Alfred looks at the video and immediately realizes that Dan is lying. How? The gap between likes and views is too huge. It's impossible. Dan just took a screenshot and changed the numbers in Photoshop. Morgana is a young witch. She enters her new school. This academy is for mystical beings only. Classmates welcome Morgana with a cake, but one of the students is an imposter. Can you guess who? This guy is the only one who looks like a human, and since this school doesn't accept humans, he doesn't belong here. Morgana is checking in at the student dormitory. She can choose one of 3 roommates. The first option is Wanda. She's a werewolf. The second choice is Elle. She's a vampire. And this is Zelda. She's also a witch. Can you help Morgana make the right choice? Wanda's room is too cluttered and all the textiles are torn. It will be uncomfortable to live with her. And Zelda has a book called How to Curse Your Roommate on her shelf. That's why Morgana should choose Elle. Morgana enters the library and explores the shelves with books and golden cups. She heard rumors about a secret passage to a hidden part of the library. Can you help Morgana find it? All the stuff on this wall is equally covered with dust and spiderwebs. But take a closer look at this golden cup. According to the date engraving, it's the oldest cup on the shelf, but it still looks shinier than the others. Suspicious. So Morgana should try to move it. A secret door opens, and Morgana enters a dark hallway. She walks it through and finds 3 sculptures, but only one of them isn't fake. Can you spot which one? The second statue is too transparent. It's a ghost. And the third statue is moving. It's a guy pretending to be a statue, so the correct answer is the first statue. Morgana asks the statue guy, "What is this place?" But he refuses to answer until she solves his riddle. "I speak without a mouth, and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I?" Morgana failed to solve this mystery. What about you? The correct answer is an echo. The statue guy puts a spell on Morgana and she falls asleep. After a while, she wakes up in a cage. He says, "I'll give you one more chance to escape. Let's play a game. There are 3 levers. You can only choose one. If you push the first lever, the cage will fill with water in seconds. The second lever will bring 2 hungry tigers to your cage. And if you push the third lever, the cage will get filled with mutant mosquitoes. It's impossible to survive after their bite. Which lever should Morgana choose?" She should choose the first lever. Water will simply spill through the bars of the cage. Morgana is attending a zombie biology class. Her teacher, Lady Jessica, shows the class 3 zombies and says, "By the way, which one of these is my ex-boyfriend?" Can you guess who? Take a look at Lady Jessica's tattoo. Now we know that her boyfriend has the name that starts with K. The second zombie has a name tag on his leg, according to which his name is Kai. Therefore, he's the ex-boyfriend. Morgana goes to the academy canteen and meets 3 guys, Magnus, Merlin, and Drake. Everyone's talking about the upcoming school prom. The next day, she receives messages from all 3 guys. Magnus says, "Hey beauty, you're invited. My elf will deliver you an evening gown that matches my suit perfectly. Meet me in the main hall at 8 p.m. Merlin says, "Hey, would you like to go to the prom with me? I heard you're an awful dancer just like me. We can meet up early and rehearse so we don't embarrass ourselves in public." And Drake says, "Morgana, I think you're my soulmate. Let's skip the prom and have dinner at my lake house. I have a huge collection of movies." Who should Morgana choose? Magnus didn't even ask if Morgana wanted to go with him. He's too selfish. And she barely knows Drake, so it might be dangerous to go to his place. So, Morgana should choose Merlin. Morgana goes to the local store to find the perfect dress, but all the dresses are sold out. She has to choose from these 4. Can you see any difference between them? The third dress has a slightly different lace decor. In the evening, Morgana is walking to the dormitory through the garden. She finds her roommate, Elle, lying unconscious in rose bushes. Teachers conclude that someone had put a sleeping curse on her. The only way to help her is to find the wizard and make him reverse the spell. Morgana questions 3 witnesses. The cook says,
"I was cleaning the kitchen, and I was about to leave after that."
The librarian says,
"Yeah, I was reading a book. It was so interesting. I spent all day indoors and I didn't pay any attention to the outer world."
And the gardener says,
"I was watering lilies in the opposite corner of the garden. I didn't see anything."
Who cursed Elle? It was the librarian. She got her shoes dirty in the mud while putting the spell on Elle in the garden. Finally, Morgana goes to the prom with Merlin. They take part in a dancing contest but fail to make it to the final. These couples are the top 3 finalists. Suddenly, the winning couple turns into frogs. The local doctor checks the frogs and finds out that someone had poisoned them with a magic potion. But the dancers ate the same food and drank the same drinks as everyone else at the party. Can you guess what happened here? They danced with a rose in their teeth, remember? It was drenched in the potion. Merlin offers Morgana to have a romantic tour around his great-grandfather's castle. He says, "This place is abandoned. No one has entered it for 100 years. Wow, let's explore it." Morgana finds 4 odd details in the living room. Can you see them too? There's a laptop on the table covered with dust. There were no such laptops 100 years ago. Also, the flowers in this vase are fresh. There's a color photo in a frame on the wall, and this old beautiful clock has 13 divisions, not 12. Merlin and Morgana go to the basement. According to rumors, a very powerful magic book is hidden here. They find a large stone box, but unfortunately, it's locked. Do you have any clue how to open it? This odd boss relief with magical runes is a combination lock. The flower has 6 petals, which means we need to match it with a 6-pointed star. The clover has 4 petals, just like this square has 4 sides. And finally, the star has 5 rays, just like a human hand has 5 fingers. And voila! Merlin opens the book. Suddenly, he yells, "It's a fake! Someone sneaked the original ahead of us!" How did he know? There's a modern barcode on the cover of this book. Morgana and Merlin find a note in the fake book. Can you help them crack this hint? The paper is purple, and the rebus means corridor. So they should search a purple corridor. Morgana and Merlin wander around and find the purple corridor. There are 3 doors leading to the original magic book, but each way hides some danger. There are multiple hungry piranhas behind the first door. There's a family of vampires behind the second door. And there's an evil witcher behind the third door. Which way should they choose? Morgana and Merlin walk through the first door. Piranhas can't survive without water, so they're not dangerous. Finally, the guys find the book, but the ghost of its author yells,
This book is too precious. I can't give it away to the wrong person. So you should first solve my riddle. I build castles. I tear down mountains. I make some men blind. I help others to see. What am I?
The correct answer is sand. Let's start with a couple of simple teasers to warm up your brain for today's challenge. The day before yesterday was Thursday. What is the day after tomorrow? If the day before yesterday was a Thursday, it means that today is Saturday. So the day after tomorrow is a Monday. Mrs. Jones has 6 dogs. Their names are Dodie, Rexy, Mel, Fang, Soso, and Lana. She just got another puppy. What do you think she will name it? Lexa, Bia, or Tina? Tina. She seems to follow the scale do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. And then comes T. Detective Callum was walking past a little house in the suburbs and heard a woman screaming, "No, Ben, don't!" He ran inside and saw an empty bottle of rat poison and several people inside. An elderly lady, a young man, a blonde girl, a brunette girl, and a cat. He figured out that one of them had drunk the poison. Without asking any questions, he picked up the man and drove him to the hospital. How did the detective know who drank the poison? He heard the name. It was Ben, and there was just one man in the house. Emma is a secret agent, and she's after a guy who's been possibly smuggling contraband from abroad. Tonight, she managed to find his secret office and broke into it. There were 4 safes. She used her equipment to open 3 of them, but they were empty. When she tried to get the code for the last safe, her device stopped working, so Emma could only rely on herself. If the codes for the 3 safes were 5378, 3785, and 7853, what is the code for the 4th one? You might have noticed that every next code is formed by moving the first digit of the previous code to the last position. So the 4th code must be 8537. Emily was on vacation, and she was staying in a hotel. One evening, she was getting ready to go out when she heard a knock on her door. She opened the door, and there was a stranger there. "Oh, sorry, I must have made a mistake. I live nearby. Sorry for disturbing you." The guy left, but Emily didn't believe that it was a mistake, so she reported him. Why was she so suspicious? The guy knocked on the door. If he had really thought it was his room, he'd have tried to open it with his key. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. Soon, she found a witch's house. walked in, petted a cat, and asked the witch to take her home, but the witch had a different proposal.
Give me a statement. If the statement is true, you'll stay here forever. If the statement is false, you'll stay here for 100 years. Otherwise, I'll take you home.
What did Esme say? Esme said, "I'll stay here for 100 years." Now, if it's true, she should stay forever instead, but then the statement will be false. If the statement is false, she will have to stay for 100 years, so it becomes true. The witch is too confused, so this time, Esme's going home. Detective Callum was following a robber around the city. Suddenly, the robber entered a hospital and disappeared. When the detective entered the building, there were 3 workers. One of them must be the criminal dressed up to pretend to be a doctor. Can you tell who it is? It's the guy on the left. All other doctors wear hospital shoes, and he's the only one wearing regular sneakers. On a summer day, the police warned that a robber had escaped from Spain and taken a plane to Los Angeles. They got the description of the robber. 6 feet tall, skinny, dark hair, no beard. Detective Callum arrived at the airport to arrest the guy. Take a look. Which guy is the one they need? It may seem that there's no one who fits the description, but look, this blonde guy here. Some dark hair is peeking from under his blonde wig. It must be the criminal in disguise. Detective Callum went on a vacation to a distant island somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. The problem is that he doesn't speak or understand a word in the local language. But right now, he needs to figure out which restroom to use. Since one is for men and the other is for women, he has found one local lady who doesn't speak English but can understand it. How can Detective Callum figure out which is the men's restroom? It's possible to do this by asking just 2 questions. At first, he should point at himself and ask, "Am I a man?" And remember the response. Whatever the local woman replies, it means a yes. Then, Detective Callum can ask the second question. Is this a men's restroom? Pointing at one of them. If the response is the same word as before, it's a yes. If it's different, then it's a no. By the way, what is it that can answer back in any language? It's an echo. Ailu is a fairy who needs to fly to a village on the other side of the forest for some fairy business. The problem is that the trip there takes 6 days, but one fairy can only carry 4 packs of pixie dust, and one is only enough for 1 day. There's no chance of getting more pixie dust midway. It's all stored in the villages. So, Ailu should take some helpers on the trip with her. How many helpers does she need? And what should be her strategy to reach the other village? Ailu will need 2 helpers. Let's call them B and C. Each of them will have a 4-day supply of pixie dust. So the 3 of them will have 12 packs. During the first day, they will all be using the pixie dust B is carrying. So they'll use 3 out of 4 packs. At the end of the day, B will fly back to the village. And Ailu and C will keep going. The remaining pack of pixie dust will be enough for B to make it back home safely. On the second day, Ailu and C will be using the pixie dust C is carrying. So they'll use 2 by the end of the day. Then C will go home. The road back home will take her 2 days, and the 2 packs will be enough for her to return. Ailu will continue her journey alone. It'll be just 4 more days. But she'll still have her 4 packs of pixie dust to make it there. Elle is a college student. She goes there by train, but she always rides her bike to the train station. Her house is between 2 stations, 1 mile from the first station and 2 miles from the second station. Every morning, she rides her bike to the first station. But every afternoon, when she returns from college, she gets off at the second station. Why? Elle lives on a hill. The first station is at the lowest point. The second one is at the highest point, and her house is in the middle. She takes advantage of this location to make sure she always goes down the hill to get wherever she needs. In a summer camp, everyone had to tell a fun fact about themselves, and other people had to guess if it was true or false. Camilla said, "My birthday is on February 29th, so I have 4 times fewer birthdays than everyone else. This year, I celebrated my birthday. I turned 17. Why didn't people believe her? February 29th only happens once every 4 years. Camilla couldn't celebrate her 17th birthday on her actual birthday because this number can't be divided by 4. So either she wasn't born that day or she's not 17. Allison has 2 coins which total 35 cents. If one of the coins isn't a dime, what are the 2 coins Allison has? Well, one is not a dime, but the other one is a dime, so Allison has a quarter and a dime. Let's start with a couple of simple teasers to warm up your brain for today's challenge. The day before yesterday was the 17th. What is the day after tomorrow? If the day before yesterday was the 17th, it means that today is the 19th, so the day after tomorrow is the 21st. Wendy's birthday was yesterday. She turned 16 years old, yet she's turning 17 this year. How is it possible? Wendy's birthday must be December 31st, and today must be January 1st, already the new year. A family is on vacation, carelessly chilling at the beach all day long. They were drinking their iced cocktails when suddenly, the youngest daughter, Odette, asked,
What day of the week is today?
No one knew. The father said, I only know what tomorrow is, neither Thursday nor Friday. The mother said, And I'm sure that yesterday wasn't Saturday or Sunday. And Adele, an older sister, said,
Today is definitely not Friday, not a Monday, and not a Tuesday.
What day is today? Let's cross out all the impossible days. From Dad, we know that it's not Wednesday and not a Thursday. From Mom, we know that Sunday and Monday are also out. Adele said no to Tuesday and Friday, so it's a Saturday. Avery walked into a room and there were several doors there. On the first door, there was a sign saying, Lion's Den. On the second door, there was a sign saying, Mountaintop. On the third door, there was a sign with just a question mark. Still, Avery knew exactly where the third door was leading. Do you? The third door is the door Avery walked through, so it led back there. Once upon a time, there was a happy family living in a house in the shape of a dome. There was a mother, a father, their daughter, a chef, a maid, and a puppy named Oliver. One day, mother and father came back home and found out that Oliver had gone missing. They asked who was the last one to walk him, but everyone denied it. The daughter said, "I was reading." The maid said, "I was dusting the corners in the house." The chef said, "I was baking an apple pie." Who is responsible for Oliver's disappearance? The maid. There's no corners in a dome-shaped house. Mrs. Lawrence has 3 daughters, Ava, Bethany, and Chloe. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Riley, Daphne, or Ava? Mrs. Lawrence seems to follow the alphabet, so I bet she'll name her 4th daughter Daphne. In the middle of a pond, there's a little island, and there's a butterfly sitting on a rock. If it swims north, it's 2 minutes to the mainland. If it swims east, it's 3 minutes to the mainland. If it swims south, it's 1 minute to the mainland. If it swims west, it's 5 minutes to the mainland. Which way should it swim? It shouldn't swim either way. Butterflies fly. Once upon a time, an evil witch kidnapped 3 women and turned them into rose bushes. One of the women begged the witch to see her husband before she left him forever. The witch agreed. She took the woman home for the night and returned her to her rosebush state the next morning. The woman had warned her husband, and the husband was following them to rescue his wife. Look at these 3 identical rose bushes. Which one is his wife? The rosebush that was his wife doesn't have any of the night's dew on the leaves. A married couple went on vacation. They locked up their house and gave the keys to a neighbor, along with instructions on what to control and maintain in the house. Just in case, the wife hid her jewelry in a safe place. While they were on vacation, there was a power outage in the house. There was no electricity for a couple of days, until the neighbor came back to check the house. The neighbor cleaned everything up by the time the couple got back. The wife couldn't find her jewelry. The neighbor swore that he didn't touch it. Where did the jewelry go? The wife hid them in a freezer. After the power outage, everything melted and the neighbor threw out all the food and jewelry as well by mistake. Now, a tricky question for you. What is the difference between electricity and lighting? You have to pay for electricity. Anna is bilingual. She speaks English and German. She had 4 exams to write: English, math, history, and geography. She wasn't prepared for them well, so she wrote all of them in German. All teachers returned her tests because they couldn't understand anything and suggested she write the test on a different day, in English. Still, one teacher could understand what she had written and gave her an F. Which teacher was it? It's the math teacher. Mathematics is all numbers, and they're the same in most languages, so the teacher could understand everything and check the exam. It's an early Monday morning. William and Daniel are both driving to work. Who is not being smart? Daniel. He hasn't fastened his seatbelt. It's not safe. James and Delaney are getting ready for a big family barbecue in the evening. James is cooking and Delaney is busy with all the decorations. Who is not smart? James. He's cooking in the direct sun, and there's milk standing right there. It'll go bad very fast. Riley and Tessa are doing house chores. Riley is vacuum cleaning the house, and Tessa is outside shoveling the snow. Which one of them is in danger? Tessa. Look, she's standing right below big icicles hanging off the roof. Every day, a woman was seen crossing the border carrying bags of sand on a motorbike. After some time, the border police got suspicious and stopped her. But they found she had only sand in those bags, so they let her go. What was the woman smuggling across the border? The answer is right in front of their nose. She's been smuggling motorbikes. Jonas lives on a farm. He just bought 7 horses. He's riding one of the horses, leading the rest to his farm. On the way, he's counting the horses he has, but he can only see 6. Problem, he paid for 7. He takes off, walks away, and counts the horses again. 7. Everything is correct. He hops up on a horse and keeps riding home. Midway, he's counting the horses again. 6. What do you think is his problem? Jonas always forgets to count the horse he's sitting on. Grace and Hope are twins, and they like to mess with people. Grace lies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Hope lies on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. One day, you walk up to them and ask what day it is. Both of them say, "Yesterday was one of my lying days." Which day is it? It can't be a Sunday, because they both say the truth one Sunday, and someone is obviously lying now. So one of them is lying, and one of them is telling the truth. So it's either the first day Grace lies, or the first day Hope lies. So it's either Monday or Thursday. It can't be Monday because in this case, both would lie saying yesterday was a lying day. So it's Thursday. Grace is telling the truth and Hope is lying. Ben has an equal number of sisters and brothers, but each sister has twice more brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family? There are 4 brothers and 3 sisters. So every boy has 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Every girl has 4 brothers and 2 sisters.